Hey, do you believe in miracles? Well, I do. I saw Fox. They went 5 minutes without mentioning Trump. I At CNN, they went 10 minutes without it. Shouldn't Jeopardy have a contest? How many times was President Trump's name mentioned today on CNN? Those are the questions you want to ask. I mean, they keep talking about it over and over again. My God, how much of this are we going to take? Do I sound like one of those evangelists, right? How are we going to take this? Oh, remember the PTL club? What was that, PTL? What does it stand for? Pass the loot. No, pay the lady. That's what it was. Why am I laughing? It's the religious approach. Now, Israel has a wall, right? You've seen the wall in Israel, haven't you seen that? Where they stuff money in it and well, not so much money, but little notes to God, and then there's a worship for it. I've been there, been to Jerusalem. That's where the wall is. That's the wall that we need over here. Somebody said that we need to build a wall to Canada. Now, I'm from Buffalo, and Buffalo is considered to be Canadian. The two safest cities in America right now are Buffalo and Detroit, because they're right on the border. In case something funky goes on, we just go right across. Well, maybe not the Peace Bridge will have a big line, but you can swim and maybe land up on the Niagara over the falls, which is not a good thing. They control the falls now. They have a dam that's farther up the river, and they can control the flow of the water because of the erosion after that they had a big landscape deterioration, I think they called it, about 20 years ago. So they built a dam to control the water so that it's not forceful. Although that's hydroelectric power, that's hydrogen, which is what we should be using in our cars because there's no exhaust emission. I drove one for about 10 weeks. I had a hydrogen car. Thank you, General Motors. The bad news is they went for a bailout with the government, and the government discontinued their program because all these guys from GM arrived in a jet, and they all arrived on in first class travel to ask for money from the government. Didn't look too good. But GMAC was sold to this Alliance Bank or something like that in Utah. The Mormons, they own the money now. They own the General Motors GMAC plans. They took over all the money. And then General Motors got rid of a lot of the unions so they could separate the Cadillac, which was a successful division, from all the others, because they were selling a lot of Escalades to rock and roll people, to the rappers. That was very fashionable for a while to have an Escalade, and also to government employees, because you don't know with the tint on the window if the president's inside, the mayor, the governor. I think they still do that. Maybe now Mercedes has one of those, because you always see the Mercedes sign, the logo in front, which is an upside down peace sign. But I had a little bit of experience with a hydrogen car. I drove with I took Judith Reagan, publisher, who wrote Private Parts. I've had Peter Bogdanovich, the director, in there. Willis Pyle, who helped build the monorail with Walt Disney. He died a few years ago. He was 99 years old, I think. And Willis was thrilled. He said, this is the best thing since the monorail. And it was great. The hydrogen car is silent. It needed a governor. It needed the governor of New York is what it needed, so that it would slow down, because the thing wants to go a lot faster, So I had that car, and I drove it for 6 months. You could only fuel it at select places. It tells you on the dashboard where. There were only two in New York. One was at the city dump in Westchester, because they have hydroelectric vehicles, and the other was at JFK Airport. But I had a good experience with the hydrogen cars. See, I've traveled a little bit and had some experience. And these are the things we need to be talking about on the radio and on television. But we're not doing it. We're sitting around bitching, and we're complaining and living off of gossip instead of what I just did. See, this whole thing of a learning curve for us to have a sense of history. The history sense is very, very important. That's why they're keeping that last Blockbuster store open in Bend, Oregon, because it is history. All the other stores have closed. They don't rent movies anymore now that you download. Netflix is down on their profits this season, I'm told. They didn't have the projection that they wanted to have of 1 million new people paying subscription rates. See, Blockbuster was something you go in, you pay you for the movie, and if you are late with it, you pay a penalty, you return the film. If you lose it, you pay for the film. But now that we have this system of downloading on Netflix and on Amazon, etc., you have to pay a subscription, and you pay them every month for it. So they know they got your money coming in every month, just like AT&T and Sprint. I mentioned this yesterday. So let's put this online here. I'll put the information online. Let's put it on the line, as we used to say. We are now a subscription country. We are pay-per-view. And it's a long way around. It's a bargain price. I mean, you're not paying $10 for every film you watch. However, in the long run, you're paying every month. It's like a car payment. It's like an electric bill. Everybody in this country is paying for these privileges, which are not privileges. Cable TV has commercials, but you pay for it anyway, because you have that wire in your house with 600 channels that all have the same information about Trump. You know, why I mentioned his name. See, I've only been on a few minutes, and I mentioned his name, I think 3 times. I'm ready for Jeopardy. The only guy on Jeopardy that's smart is Alex Trebek, because he makes $15,000 a show and knows all the answers because they're all on a card in front of him. He doesn't have to remember a thing. I like that job. It's a Reynolds Rap.